Chapter 1, Humiliated. The luxurious Xiao family villa was ablaze with lights. Tonight, it was the 70th birthday banquet of the Xiao family's head of the family, old Mrs. Xiao. A group of grandsons, granddaughters, and granddaughters-in-law had presented generous gifts. "Grandma, I heard that you love tea. This 100-year-old PUERT brick is worth $500,000, it's a birthday gift for you." "Grandma, I heard that you believe in Buddhism. This jade Buddha is carved from Hishan jade and is worth 700,000. Old Mrs. Xiao looked at the various gifts and laughed heartily. The whole family was in a happy mood. At this time, Xiao old lady's eldest grandson son-in-law Ye Chen suddenly opened his mouth and said, "Grandma, can you lend me $1 million? Auntie Li in the orphanage has uremia and needs money to cure her." The entire Xiao family was in shock. Everyone looked at Ye Chen with unbelievable eyes. This door-to-door son-in-law, his guts were too big. Right, the old lady's birthday, not only did he not prepare any gifts, but he even dared to ask the old lady to borrow $1 million 3 years ago. The old man Xiao, still alive, do not know where to find Ye Chen, had to marry his eldest granddaughter Xiao, and at that time Ye Chen was penniless, simply with a beggar, no different. After the two married, the old man died. Since that time, the Xiao family has been trying to get rid of him. But Ye Chen is indifferent, let others how to insult, also not moved, so it has been in the Xiao family to do up the son-in-law. Today, when he asked the old lady to borrow money, it was also out of necessity. Auntie Li of the orphanage, who took him in and saved his life, has uremia and needs at least $1 million for dialysis and kidney replacement. He really has no choice but to ask the old lady. He felt that today is the old lady's birthday, the old lady is happy, maybe kind-hearted, willing to help. Unexpectedly, Mrs. Xiao was still laughing happily in the last second, but immediately pulled down her face in the second. She slammed the teacup in her hand to the ground and angrily shouted, "Asshole, are you here to celebrate your birthday or to borrow money?" Ye Chen's wife, Xiao, hurriedly stepped forward and explained to the old lady, "Grandma, Ye Chen doesn't know any better, don't take offense." Saying that, she was about to pull Ye Chen to the side. At this time, Xiao cousin Xiao Wei sneered at the side and said, "Sister, look at what kind of trash you married. Yunfei and I are only engaged and not yet married, and Yunfei gave Grandma a Hishan jade Buddha, but this husband of yours is good, he didn't bring any gifts, and he has the face to ask Grandma to borrow money." "That's right, brother Ye Chen, we are both the granddaughters-in-law of the Xiao family. This eldest grandson son-in-law of yours is really a failure." The man who spoke was Xiao Wei's fiancé, the young master of the local big family, Wang Yunfei. Although Wang Yunfei was about to get married to Xiao Wei, in his mind, Xiao Wei's appearance was 100,000 miles worse than Ye Chen's wife, Xiao. Xiao was a famous goddess throughout Jinling, but seeing that the goddess married this one loser, Wang Yunfei's heart was also very upset. "This kind of trash, it's better to get out of our Xiao family before it's too late." "That's right. The face of the Xiao family has been disgraced by this guy. I think it's a lie that he borrowed money, and it's true that he deliberately spoiled the old lady's birthday banquet." Ye Chen couldn't help but clench his fists when he saw that the entire Xiao family was targeting and abusing themselves. If it wasn't for the sake of getting medical bills together for the person who saved his life, he would have turned around and left this place of wrongdoing long ago. However, thinking of his father's teaching of himself since childhood, telling him to repay the kindness of a drop of water when it springs from the spring, he then made a strong effort to suppress his inner humiliation, and said to old Mrs. Xiao, "Grandma, saving a life is better than building a 7-stage pagoda, I beg you to have mercy. Someone snorted coldly and scolded, Surname Ye, you are less here to give grandma a bewitching soup. If you want to save a person you think of your own way, let grandma pay to help you save a person. What kind of thing are you? The one who spoke was Xiao Weiwei's own brother, Xiao Heilong. They, the siblings, had always had a big opinion of Xiao Churen, who was superior to them in every aspect, so they liked to seize the opportunity to ridicule Ye Chen the most. Xiao Churen on the side had a somewhat awkward expression and said, Grandma, Ye Chen, he lost his father when he was 8 years old, it was Auntie Li from the orphanage who brought him up, he wants to repay the favor also out of a grateful heart, please also help him. Old Mrs. Xiao said with a dark face, let me help him fine, unless you divorce him and marry Mr. Zhang, if you do as you are told, I will give him $1 million immediately. The Zhang Gongzi that the old lady was talking about was Zhang Wenhao, who had been pursuing Xiao Churen. The Zhang family was an upper-class family in Jinling, much more powerful than the Xiao family, and the old lady had always wanted to tie the knot. At this moment, the butler steps in and says loudly, Zhang Wenhao Zhang Gongzi sent someone to send a birthday gift. A piece of Buddha metal carved from old pit jadeite, worth $3 million. Old Mrs. Xiao was overjoyed and said, quickly bring it, let me see it. The butler immediately handed over an emerald green jadeite Buddha tablet, and everyone present let out a gasp. This jadeite Buddha plate is emerald green, crystal, without a trace of impurities, at first glance is the top quality goods. Wang Yunfei, who had sent the Hishan jade Buddha, saw this jadeite Buddha, his face was also a little embarrassed, he did not expect this Zhang Wenhao, who had no relationship with the Xiao family, to be so generous. Old Mrs. Xiao joyfully played with the jadeite Buddha tablet and said cheerfully, Aya, Mr. Zhang really has a heart. If he could be my granddaughter-in-law, I would really wake up from my dreams with a smile on my face. After saying that, she looked up at Xiao Churen, how about it my conditions, do you want to consider them? Xiao Churen shook her head, Grandma, I won't divorce Ye Chen. Old Mrs. Xiao's expression instantly became gloomy as she angrily cursed, giving face. Non hanging on this trash. Tell this punk to get the hell out of here. This punk is not allowed to attend my birthday banquet. Ye Chen was completely disappointed with the Xiao family and had no face to continue staying in the Xiao family at this time, so he said to Xiao Churen, Churen, I'm going to the hospital to see Auntie Li. Xiao Churen hurriedly said, then I'll go with you. Old Mrs. Xiao scolded at this time, if you leave as well, I won't have you as my granddaughter in the future. You take your father and your mother and get out of the Xiao family with this trash. Xiao Churen was stunned, not expecting the old lady to say such cruel words. Ye Chen was busy saying, you stay, don't worry about me. Saying that, without waiting for Xiao Churen to come back to her senses, she turned around herself and walked out. Xiao Heilong laughed behind him, my good brother-in-law, you're leaving hungry, you won't go on the streets to beg for food, right? In that case, will you lose the face of our Xiao family? I still have $1 here, you go buy a steamed bun to eat. Xiao Heilong said, then pulled out a coin and threw it at Ye Chen's feet. The entire Xiao family burst into laughter. Ye Chen gritted his teeth and left the Xiao family without looking back. Rushing to the hospital, Ye Chen immediately went to the payment office, wanting to communicate with the hospital that the medical bills would be delayed for 2 more days. However, when he asked the nurse, he was suddenly told that Auntie Li had already been sent overnight to Yanjing's Best Concord Hospital for treatment. Ye Chen was shocked and hurriedly asked her, how much does this cost? I'll find a way. The other party said, a total of $3 million is needed, 1 million has already been paid, and there is still a difference of 2 million. It has to be paid within a week. Who paid this 1 million? The other party shook his head. I don't know. Ye Chen was surprised in his heart, and was about to figure out this matter, when he turned around. A man wearing a black suit, with some gray hair and about 50 years old, was standing behind him. As the four eyes met, the man bowed at him and said, "Young master, you have suffered for so many years." Ye Chen frowned, as if his entire person had changed his temperament, and asked in a cold voice, "Are you Tang Sihai?" The other party said in surprise, "Young master, you still remember me?" Ye Chen's expression flinched as he muttered under his breath, "Of course I remember. I remember each and every one of you. Back then, it was you guys who forced my parents to take me away from Yanjing and flee all the way. In the middle of this, my parents suffered an accidental death, and I became an orphan, so what are you guys looking for me for now?" Tang Sihai said very painfully, "Young master, when your father passed away, the master was also in a great deal of grief. He has been looking for you for so many years. Now it's fine, you go back with me to see him." Ye Chen coldly said, "Go away, I will never see him in my life." Tang Sihai said, "Young master, do you still blame master?" "Of course." Ye Chen said word for word, "I will never forgive him in my life." "Ai." Tang Sihai let out a long sigh and said, "Before I came here, master said that you might not forgive him. Then count him as self-aware." Tang Sihai said, "Master knows that you have suffered all these years, and asked me to give you a little compensation. If you don't want to go back, you will buy the biggest enterprise in Jinling and give it to you. In addition to giving you this card, the password is your birthday." Saying that, Tang Sihai handed over a Citibank top-tier black gold card. "Young master, this kind of card, there are only 5 in the country." Ye Chen shook his head, "Take it away, I don't want it." Tang Sihai said, "Young master, your savior, is still short of $2 million in medical fees. If you can't pay it, the person's life may be in danger." Ye Chen frowned tightly, "You guys are deliberately counting on me." Tang Sihai busily said, "I don't dare. Your acceptance of this card will be enough to pay this money." Ye Chen opened his mouth and asked, "How much money is in this card?" Master said that this card is a little pocket money for you, not much, a total of $10 billion. Stay tuned for the next exciting chapter of The Dragon Son-in-Law.